Hey all, welcome to our third installment of our webinar series. We're coming to you live from the third floor of the lovely City Point building here in the heart of the business district in Prague and Pankratz. Um, just before we get started, I want to let you know if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. So anyway, Jan is here with me to discuss our
Hi.
topic for today. Welcome, Jan. Which cloud is the best for defining cloud strategy? Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick poll. Which cloud is everybody using? AWS, Azure, GCP, or other? If you could just leave your comments in the chat here. I'm sorry we have somebody who doesn't know how to use the chat here, unfortunately. I apologize for that. We'll try to get them removed as quickly as possible. But if you could just answer A for AWS, B for GCP, C for Azure, D for other, and E for none. Just see kind of what everybody's using here. So anyway, so just one question to kind of get us warmed up. So what should really be called a cloud strategy, Jan?
Yeah, that's a very important question, of course. Everyone is asking. There are many definitions what should be in the cloud strategy and what should not be there. In fact, the basic attribute and the basic uh, question which should be answered by the cloud strategy is the role of the cloud for the organization. How the organization is going to utilize the cloud, and it's usually a living document, as today nothing is fixed, and it it should be somehow, it should play the bridge between the business strategy of the corporate or organization and the cloud migration adoption strategy or migration adoption plan, how to implement something.
Okay, okay. So if that relates to corporate strategy, it seems not only to be IT businesses.
Yeah, definitely. Cloud strategy is not only about the technology and cannot be only about the technology. Of course, there are many technical things which should be managed there. But have an issue?
I just wanted to make sure that we were casting here.
Okay, hopefully yes.
Okay, okay. I just want to
So
make sure that everybody can see us here. Is that right? I'm sorry if we're having a technical issue here. Okay, so I guess it's working.
hopefully yes. So let's
Okay,
let's continue.
okay.
Okay, so definitely cloud strategy is not only about the technology aspects and technology questions. Of course, there is a lot of technology inside the cloud strategy. On the other hand, there are many other stakeholders within the organization usually who has to say something and which could have quite significant impact to the cloud strategy. For example, some legal specialists or HR or compliance. Those are usually some departments or people within the organization whose opinion is very important. And of course, it could happen that some of the more advanced technology persons are pretty aware of some security issues, legal issues, and so on. It's still about the legal department who is responsible how certain regulation will be fulfilled and interpreted by the company. So it's very important to have such stakeholders onboarded, even if they are not IT and they are not fully understanding all IT aspects of the cloud strategy. It's very important to discuss the topics with them as well.
Okay, okay, interesting. So, having a corporate strategy, is it really necessary?
Well, it's best to have a corporate strategy. As I said, that the cloud strategy is a bridge between the corporate strategy and the migration or adoption of the cloud, adoption plan of the cloud.
Hmm.
Uh, if you don't have one of the pillars of this bridge, it could be quite tricky. On the other hand, of course, I know it very well from my experience as well that many companies are struggling to have really properly defined business strategy or corporate strategy. So if there is no clear strategy to be based on, you have to start to work with based some assumptions on what the corporate strategy could be.
Okay, interesting, interesting. Okay. So what if I already have a cloud services strategy? Like, do I have to implement one or is it
Yeah, of course, this is usually the case.
right?
It's not very rare that a company is already utilizing any kind of cloud services,
Hmm.
and even before they have the cloud strategy, before because someone in the organization is taking the lead and wants to utilize some of the benefits of the cloud services, and they cannot or doesn't want to wait for the cloud strategy, so they are starting to utilize it. It's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Uh, and if that happens, it's good to leverage this situation. Okay, we already started to use some cloud services, so while defining the cloud strategy, we can already have some experience, and we can see what was good, what is bad, what are some are there some drawbacks or benefits, huge benefits which were not expected. This could be incorporated very easily to the cloud strategy,
Hmm.
and as I said before, the cloud strategy is a living document, so it should evolve with the experience anyway.
Okay, okay. So what is the best way to set up and kind of define your cloud strategy?
Yeah, mm, the the best case is to start defining cloud strategy
Hmm.
within the organization
Hmm.
using the internal people. Uh, I know that it's quite often the case that someone has an idea. Okay, we are not cloud experts. We will ask some cloud experts to to define the cloud strategy for us.
Sure.
I don't think this is a good approach. I will explain why. Uh, we have already some experience from the practice that it's quite rarely the case uh, that these advisors are really independent,
Hmm.
and even that's the reason why we are doing this webinar, uh, to enable the companies to start working on the cloud strategy, even if they are not experts for the cloud, uh, because if you take someone, we have seen also such case that someone offered, yeah, we will bring you, we will define the cloud strategy for you for free.
Hmm.
You should be very, very um, aware of that,
Right.
of this situation, and very cautious,
Why is
because
that?
uh, we know that in this particular case,
Hmm.
such company uh, asked one of the cloud providers to pay for the work,
Okay,
and you
okay.
can imagine how the results would be.
Right, right,
So,
right.
so this is very important, which doesn't mean
Hmm.
that you cannot ask anyone external to get an advice.
Okay.
Of course, it's very important to have as many opinions as you can get from many sites, many experts, usually externals. But it's very important to process and to somehow clarify these advices, put them into context of your company, and to prepare the cloud strategy, your cloud strategy, cloud strategy of your organization,
Right.
not someone else.
Got you. Got you. All right. All right. So, I mean, let's assume that I have no experience in cloud, but I want to use cloud benefits and start with the cloud strategy. What are the questions I should search for answers to?
Yeah. Okay. There are many things which you should consider, but usually there is something why you started to think about the cloud strategy. And this is a very good starting point. So, why have you started to think about cloud services utilization? This is most probably one of the most important drivers, potential drivers, you should take into consideration while evaluating the or creation of the cloud strategy. Of course, there could be like many of them, and you should answer a lot of questions while you are defining the cloud strategy. Usually, and it depends on your business as well. It's very important to keep in mind where are my users of my applications. Are they sitting on in one place, or are they distributed in the country, in the continent, over the whole world? It depends. Yeah. How the users are authenticated, also very important thing, or could be important. What are the integrations of the application or applications you would like to deploy to the cloud? The surrounding, the context of the applications is very important. If the application is already running somewhere, you have to be careful about what is the persistence technology used in the application, which kind of database is utilized. There are huge differences between the database engines and their like price while running the database in the cloud, because the licensing policies of different vendors of different databases are really varying, and in some cases the licenses for the databases to be run in cloud are much more expensive than if you are running the database in your own data center.
Right.
So, of course, it's important what is the workload of the application, what are the security requirements. Really depends a lot about your business, how you are operating your business, and things like that. What is quite important from my point of view is to separate the discussions about current applications and the new ones you would like to create. Because regarding the new ones, it's usually much easier to manage, to be cloud ready than with the existing ones. And the more legacy application is, the usually the worse is the situation and the migration stuff and so on.
Okay, interesting. So is the idea of complete simplification of IT structure wrong, or?
It's not necessary. It could be the case, but it's very rare that it's not rare that someone defines the cloud strategy all in cloud, I call it all-in strategy,
Sure.
everything to the cloud. But at the end, it's rarely the case that such a strategy is really successful and bringing all the benefits everyone is expecting.
Right.
So it's like always in the real life, you have some extreme options. One of the option is I have everything in my data center, which is usually like starting point. Another option is move everything to the cloud, and the most efficient and the best way for your business, for your organization, is usually somewhere in the middle. Depends on the type of the business. If it's more regulated, then you can expect that you will be more on the side of on-prem. If it's less regulated, then you can usually afford to put more things to the cloud.
Okay, interesting. So, what are the aspects which need to be addressed in the cloud strategy?
Yeah, as already said, the user perspective is very important because nowadays users are expecting that the systems will be very reactive, they will be running smoothly and so on. So it means that usually latency is very sensitive aspect. And of course, even if those users are your like back office operations employees, your intention is to have like minimum spending waiting for the responses of your application.
Sure.
So this is very important for sure. You have to take into consideration the operation stuff, the performance of the application, scalability, latency. Some of them are in contradiction, so you have to think very carefully about those things. Of course, security, where the data are stored, how they are transferred, and so on. You have to think about some components which could be more tricky to move to the cloud. Could be kind of edge computing things, the printers, attendance systems. Today, everything could be solved using the cloud, of course, but depends on extent of your systems you already have. It could be quite tricky, expensive. It could take a long time to move those things to the cloud. So you have to think about that. And of course, there are other aspects like procurement of the applications, the architecture of the applications. Even if we are talking about the new applications, as I said, it could be easier to develop the application for the cloud. Even with that, you have to take care about the maturity of the team. Are they really ready to develop application for the cloud? Usually we are talking about the microservice architecture, which could be quite tricky. So it has to be, you have to be careful. And there is one very important aspect you have to take care of, and it's about the exit strategy. If you are defining the cloud strategy, how to go towards any cloud, you have to be clear how or what is your exit strategy. Yeah, and of course it depends on the cloud strategy you define. If you would go with the or by the, if you will go by the cloud agnostic way, which means that okay, I would like to utilize some cloud services because I don't want to take care about the infrastructure. I want to be scalable, fast, whatever could happen. If you would go with the cloud agnostic way, then you can quite easily switch from one cloud to the other, which doesn't even mean that your application has to run in the cloud. It also means if you are cloud ready, you can, and cloud agnostic, you can go to any cloud, but you can also go to on-prem very fast. And it doesn't mean it has to be your own infrastructure, your own servers in the in your data center. If you have to be fast, then catch some third-party data center services, and you can move one of your applications there very fast. If you have any difficulties with some such application. And of course, it's very important to have a right tool set chosen for this. And this is very good place to mention our product, CodeNow, which could help you significantly with the deployment of your applications to any cloud you would choose. So you can deploy today to AWS and to change it even within the day by Azure, by DigitalOcean, by or your own data center very easily. It's possible with the right tooling.
Okay, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later, of course. But I think that everybody, and I should have mentioned this, we'll hold off on this question that everybody's looking forward to at the end here is, which cloud is the best? I noticed there's a lot of people from AWS on here who are probably hoping that we might mention them, but what do you think?
I think I will be consistent. My opinion is that to be cloud agnostic is the best way, and the right answer here is that the best cloud for you is the one which addresses your concerns the best way.
Okay.
On the other hand, of course, it's not so black and white, because to put part or to deploy part of your application portfolio to one cloud provider is only one of the options you have. It means like you have single cloud strategy and you are utilizing one cloud provider, which could be the case.
Right.
No issue with that. But there are also other options. You can have a multi-cloud approach, which means that you are utilizing for the same kind of services more cloud providers, which means that, for example, you will deploy your application to more cloud providers at the same time. Could be quite tricky on one side. On the other hand, you can very efficiently resolve some risks here, mitigate some risks. We know all of us are having the experience that some of the cloud providers, even the biggest ones, they have once per year, once per 2 years, a bad day, and nothing is working.
Right. You have to stay
6 hours. It could happen.
Right.
It just happens. It's not a question if that happens or not. It's the question how often and what the company is doing with that.
Right.
I think they are dealing quite well, but regarding the complexity, their offering, it's very hard to assure that this would never happen.
Sure.
And if you would use the multi-cloud strategy, then you can quite easily switch then the traffic from one cloud provider to the other, and your clients could be, or your users could be safe with the multi-cloud strategy. Another option is to have hybrid cloud solution, which is not the same as a multi-cloud. Hybrid cloud means that you are utilizing some of the services, some kinds of the services from one provider,
Mm-hmm.
while the other kind of services from the other provider.
Sure.
So you are uh, picking the best of the breeds from one to from the other. Database service is best here, this one is best here, and combining them together.
Mm-hmm.
It could be tricky, quite tricky sometimes as well. But if you are doing this, this is more advanced kind of cloud architecture. You have to know what you are doing, why do you are doing this, uh, and of course, also it could also happen that your cloud strategy could be quite simple, and saying no cloud
Okay.
could happen. Some kinds of the organizations, financial institutions, for example, in certain countries, it's quite clear that they cannot go to the cloud,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or they are very limited
Right. Right.
what they can deploy to the cloud at the end. And I think that it's very important to have in mind
Mm-hmm.
that the cloud offering is changing very rapidly. It also means that the strategy should be living document, and the prices are also changing very rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think that the multi-cloud or cloud agnostic, you don't have to utilize three cloud providers.
Mm-hmm.
If you are cloud agnostic, you can change your cloud provider within several hours,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, and in that case, you can switch quite easily towards the cloud provider offering you better prices or conditions, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you dislike some of the cloud provider, then it's fine. And also, we should keep in mind that cloud lock-in could be quite dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Today, the penetration of usage of the cloud services by the companies is not so high yet. But what we can expect that in the future, when the companies will be using like 60-80% of their computational resources will be consumed or provided by the cloud providers,
Mm-hmm.
then we can expect that some of the cloud providers could change their behavior if they will recognize that you are catched and you are utilizing some of their specific cloud services which you cannot get anywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
like some kinds of database services, for example.
Sure. Sure.
Then maybe you will get a different pricing than the customers who are not cloud locked to that
Right.
provider.
Right.
So think about this in advance. I don't think this is the case of today,
Sure.
but could come within 2-3 years quite easily.
Right, right. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so basically, it kind of depends on, what your needs are, but generally multi-cloud or hybrid cloud is going to be the best. So,
Uh, it's not the easiest
yeah.
way, but the best way is rarely the easiest.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. So, I mean, this is a chance that I should probably, just take a couple minutes to tell everybody about CodeNow. So, basically, we're very excited to tell you about it. Not only can we operate hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, on-prem, but our cost is lower than any other platform. And another thing, too, is that basically there's no code lock. As Jan was mentioning, you can leave anytime that you want. You can take advantage of the platform that you're on, AWS, Azure, GCP, any other platform, and we just operate as an orchestration layer on top of that too. So we've also put together a document that you guys should definitely check out. I'll send out a email to everybody on the webinar later, and you can download it. But essentially, it will give you kind of an outline to plan your journey, your cloud native journey to not only move your company onto the cloud, but get your whole development team there. So definitely check us out, CodeNow.com. Mention this webinar, and we can give you a 50% discount for the first 3 months. And right now, we would like to move to questions, but it seems like the chat is kind of crashed here. So I think that we can probably wrap it up for today, if that's okay with you, Jan.
Sure.
Is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
No, just if you would have any questions towards cloud strategy, we would most probably not do the cloud strategy for you, but of course you can ask, and we will provide our opinion and our point of view on your situation.
Great, excellent. Thanks a lot, and thanks everybody for joining. Looking forward to seeing you on our next webinar, and everybody have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.